Welcome everybody to the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast, the last podcast for us in 2024, and it is all about Raw. Yeah, Monday Night Raw just going off the air a few short hours ago. The last Raw of the cable era, and we're now moving into the Netflix and chill era starting next week. And there is so much stuff going on in wrestling in general, but of course, I can't do Monday Night Raw alone. No, sir, my good friend. Mr. Warm Breezy Jordan is here. Good morning, mate.
Morning, mate. Adam, how are we? You all right?
Man, I don't know if it's the coffee or if it's wrestling or if it's both. I just feel electric after watching Raw today.
Yeah, definitely. I feel a bit, especially with me after last night with who I had. And then I wake up this morning and then I watched Raw. I was like, do you know what? Because it's the 31st today, we're
Yes.
recording, and
Yep.
it's 2025 is literally 14 hours away. And I feel like I'm so pumped for it. I don't know about you.
I'm just pumped for wrestling, man. I was just saying before we went on air today that, AEW's new stuff, like their new deal, their streaming stuff. I know it's only in the States, but that kicks off tomorrow night with Dynamite. We got SmackDown kicking off. Well, we got 3 hours of SmackDown starting Friday, and then it all starts next Monday night when WWE, for us anyway, and it's in a sense the whole of the WWE for us turns to Netflix. I'm buzzing for this, and I don't know, man. It just feels like there is excitement for wrestling for the first, not for the first time, but like I kind of feel like felt during the Attitude Era now that I have to watch wrestling every week.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying on that one. And that's what you want. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to spoil it, but the promo between two certain guys on Raw, if you've got to be a wrestling fan to hear what they're saying, and then you're like, fuck, I can relate.
You're not if no, 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 if you didn't watch that or if you watched that promo and you're not hyped for the match next week, then Jesus, I don't know. You may have to go and look yourselves in the mirror because it was amazing. But we'll get to all of that, and we're gonna do some of our favorite memories from the cable era of Raw as well. I did say to Jordan top three, but we can mention a lot of stuff, but there would just be three top ones that you know we'll always remember. But well, Raw kicked off this week with well, it was meant to mean Jey Uso, but the interruption was the New Day. I don't know if they're piping in the booze for them, but Jesus, they got booed out the building. Jey Uso did come out, and he was, the New Day was trying to say to him, "Look, can you get him to calm down so we can talk?" And Jey Uso just said New Day sucks, and everyone went on to that. He then broke it down the stuff with McIntyre. He calls McIntyre out, but that was answered by Solo Sikoa and the Bloodline on the Tron. I still think my only thing about this is that at the end of that promo, McIntyre does attack. They get into a bit of a brawl when McIntyre hits him with a claymore, and then walks away. The slight thing about it was you could see Jey Uso turn around as McIntyre was in the ring, and if you're turning around like that, he would have seen him. So I was a little bit like, damn, you kind of shouldn't have turned around then, Jay. But still a great way to start Raw, and we're talking like Dominic Mysterio getting nuclear heat, but now I think that's been eclipsed. I think he could get cheered if he come out and interrupted New Day.
Oh, definitely. That that would be funny to see. Really funny to see.
Yeah, it would, man. It
I
was
think,
like. But what do you make of this? Because Drew's going on this. It's kind of like the Drew McIntyre revenge tour, right? He's doing his own version of it. He's going after every member of the Roman Reigns' bloodline at one point. But he's looking jacked as well, though, McIntyre.
yeah, he was away for what, I want to say 6 weeks or 2 months, and he obviously healing him because that Hell in a Cell did some damage to him,
Yeah.
and he came back and he's looked 10 times stronger. I think Drew since 2022, since when he turned heel, I think unbelievable. He's had an unbelievable run.
Yeah, man, he has, and I don't know, in 2025, man, championship maybe on the horizon for McIntyre. Do you think he needs it? I think like I don't say necessarily needs it, but I think if someone actually deserves a run as champion, a world champion, it's McIntyre.
Oh yeah, I think he deserves it more than without a shadow of a doubt because we got the moment of him being the first British person to win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
We wanted that at Mania. We got it, but not. Do you know what I mean? We didn't get it
Yeah. Yeah.
because that crowd would have been electric. Him slaying the beast and winning. So
Yeah.
yeah, he does deserve it.
We'll see if he gets it. He may even move to SmackDown. The trade window is still open. We don't know when. Does that start next week along with everything else? We'll have to wait and see. And obviously, when Raw hits Netflix next Monday, you finally got to a match, and it was quite good. Chad Gable, Otis, finally having their one-on-one. I mean, that's been brewing, sorry, for some time. Diamond Mine and I don't know. I've got something. I do like Ivy Nile. I don't know. Not just from a wrestling standpoint. I don't know. There's something about her. But anyway, Gable, no, he's going, Jesus, that German that he hits Otis with. I mean, people always I say about why is Gable so good. That guy deadlift Germaned Otis in this match. And then for those of you that don't know, Otis is a fridge compared to Gable. I mean, that Chad Gable, surely something's got to happen to him next year.
I think it was a good way to end the year for Chad Gable, obviously finishing the rivalry with Otis. But
Mm.
I don't know if you saw it, but I saw Kurt Angle massively in this match.
Yeah, yeah,
The way he obviously, I know he's got the comparisons to Kurt, but if you look at the end, how he did the finish,
yeah.
like he had it over, like, and then tap and stuff like that. And the German suplex, like you said, I think he moved like Kurt Angle in this match a hell of a lot.
Mm. He's got the Kurt Angle music as well, kind of. There's like a bit about for those of you that watch NWA, his music is a little bit like a cross between Baron von Storm and Kurt Angle. It's just I don't know. I like the music. I just think it's fitting. I just want something next year with him. It has to have. I don't necessarily say world championship. I think that may be a stretch, but if he's moving to SmackDown, because I saw on SmackDown a week or two ago that I think he was talking to Nick Aldis on there. They must do something with Chad next year.
Yeah, I can see Raw, like we all know that for the past 15 years, SmackDown's been the top. I think now it's kind of shifted going to Netflix. Like Raw will now become the show. You've
Mm.
got Roman Reigns, Punk, Sikoa, Fatu. You've got all these stars that's going to be there, Cody. So it's going to be interesting. Gunther's definitely going to SmackDown. So I think having Chad Gable, it'll be SmackDown in my eyes when I'll become SmackDown from 2002 to 2007, 2008. Like you had the Edge, Kurt Angles, at the time Chris Benoit, Eddie Guerrero. You had all these like six names that made SmackDown big.
Hmm. Yeah, man, that could be a good shout, actually. I didn't think of it that way. But they could do that. Yeah, Raw could have all like the mega stars and SmackDown could
Could
have
be
those.
building the stars.
Yeah, exactly. Building the stars. That's a great shout, by the way. That is a real good shout, actually. Come to think of it. I want to talk Judgment Day a little bit because I know they got a match later, and we're going to get into the women's stuff as well. There is dissension there with Finn, and he seems to be. I don't know if he seems to be jealous of Liv or something's not quite right there going on. Are we going to get yet another split within Judgment Day coming up? And is it going to be like Finn, maybe JD McDonough and Carlito going one way, and Dom, Liv, and Raquel going the other?
I could see that, but it's a hard one. I think Finn, some time in 2025, will be a world champion. Long overdue.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm saying, I'm not saying the start or the middle. I'm saying towards the end. I reckon he'll have like, like him to have a long reign. I reckon he'll have a few months as champion, and him and the Judgment Day will go to SmackDown. Damian Priest will go to SmackDown. Gunther's definitely going to SmackDown. So you're going to be having all these still star power, but
Mhm.
like I've just said, all the mega stars really on Raw.
Yeah, and may well be that Finn does end up winning the gold at some point. I think that my thing is when we go back to Money in the Bank, like in the middle of the year, I think either Drew or Finn wins that. That's my the men's one.
I don't think Drew will win it
Mm,
because he doesn't need to win it
true. Yeah.
because he didn't need it to main event WrestleMania this year against Seth.
Yeah.
Oh, I said main event. I think if you're going to give it to someone, i.e., like Tiffany Stratton came to the roster, won it. She's been floating about around, you know.
Mm.
We don't know when she's going to cash in. We think next week. Who knows? But Finn Balor's a good shout for that one.
Yeah,
Carmelo Hayes could be a good shout.
interesting one. That's a left field pick, but he could be. Yeah, there's no.
That's we saw the work that he did on NXT, the way he talks, he can
Yeah,
talk, and if he has a briefcase, he can. Yeah, he just be like
interesting.
an annoying Austin Theory.
So yeah, I mean Austin Theory's one was trash, but you're right. Carmelo White Hayes one could work. Actually, I didn't think of that. It's a left field pick, but that is not a bad shout, actually. Carmelo Hayes. We'll have to clip that because if it happens, and then you can say that back in December, you got it right, way back when. That's it. That's a great shout. That is a good pick. We tried to get a little brief, or we didn't even get a match, did we? Truth was coming down, doing what he normally does. Pete Dunne attacks him from behind. These two for me, like I love. I mean, Truth's a comedy wrestler, we know that, but he can wrestle. There's no doubt about it. I want them to send Pete Dunne back down to NXT. I feel like right now he's if he stays on Raw, his days are numbered because, as you say, they're going to load up Raw with a star power. I don't, even though SmackDown's 3 hours, I don't think. I know it sounds stupid. I just don't think there's enough time with the storylines at the moment. What's going on SmackDown to give him any time. And maybe that's the same case with Raw. For me, send Pete Dunne back down to NXT and let him shine with the talent they've got down there.
Definitely, I hear what you're saying on that one, and I think that's a really good idea because Pete Dunne, we know, bruiserweight gimmick, brilliant. When he was the UK champion, brilliant. Even the Brawling Brutes with Sheamus and everyone, brilliant. But at the moment, I feel like he's just lost in the shuffle.
Yeah, he has been. He's definitely been lost in that shuffle. And I don't see a switch of brands even helping at this point. Like, as into SmackDown. That's what, sorry,
Yeah,
not mean, yeah, to SmackDown. I don't see it working right now.
definitely not.
No, NXT for me, for Pete Dunne. I think that will work better. But let's get into the women's IC tournament. The two semi-final matches. Dakota Kai, Zoe Stark, and then there was Io Sky and Lara Valkyria. I can't remember her name. Do you know what? Both of these, I was really impressed. Actually, by both matches, to be fair, but more so by Dakota and Zoe. I don't think either of these two get the flowers that they should get. Dakota Kai, obviously, she's had a lot of issues with injury. We know that. This match for me just proved how good both of these two women are. It's great that Dakota, I think the right winner, Dakota going through to the final was the right choice. But I think a bit of respect needs to be put on these two women's name.
I completely agree with what you've just said. I feel Zoe and Dakota, we don't really see them in singles matches, or we haven't in the last few years.
Hmm.
Dakota has really impressed me. No credit to Zoe, but she has as well. But Dakota, the setbacks she's had, injury, then her leg, then this and that. I feel like she's winning the whole thing.
I hope so. I really do. I think like, and what I did like about this, I mean, the crowd was great all night, to be fair, but they seem to have them eating out of their hands at a lot of this. Those near falls that they were putting on, the crowd was really invested into these two, which I think like deservedly so, because like I said, they don't get the respect they deserve. But the crowd of this was so into it as well. Surely that plays well into both of these two's future for the WWE. The fact that they could bring that crowd into their match, because sometimes crowds do quieten down for it, but not for this.
100%. 100%. The crowd was involved, and it's what you want. If you've got the crowd involved, they want to put on a better match.
Yeah. And they get pumped as well, man. You're in there, that adrenaline's running. When you're in there, we'll bypass the Damian Priest War Raiders thing for now and the Ludwig Kaiser, but we'll get to the second women's IC semi-final match, Io Sky Live Akira. And again, these two, I expected. I did. To be fair, I expected a good match on this. I did expect a good match between these two. Not that I didn't with Zoe and Dakota, but it was just impressed me the way that they put the match together and it come off. These two, I expected it. They absolutely delivered with this match. To be honest with you, Lara Valkyria, I'm gonna say quite surprisingly because. I was kind of thinking, will they go for the damage control final, which I think then Dakota would have won it. I just feel right now that they're going to put it on Lyra Valkyria to start with. I don't know why. I just think that like with Becky Lynch still being off TV, and I just think they're missing. I don't know. Maybe they're missing something to do with the I don't know if it's the Irish or what it is. But for me, Lara Valkyria wins it. I want Dakota to win it, but I feel as if they're edging towards Lara winning
I hope not.
it.
Straight up, I hope not, because like I've just said, there's no one who deserves it more than Dakota Kai.
No, no,
She
she
gets
does.
released. She gets released 2 years ago.
Yeah,
Comes back, gets injured. Been in one of the hottest storylines for Damage Control.
yeah,
Been a
yeah.
consistent on TV all the time. She gets injured. Not her fault,
No.
but putting on bangers now. Give her her flowers where it's due. Give her the title.
She absolutely needs it. I think she'd be the best. I think she'd be better suited for it right now. I just I just feel as if she would have won it if it was against EO. I don't know why. I feel as if she would have won it if it was EO, but because it's Lara, and I think WWE they see something in Lara Valkyria that, and I just think they're going to press the button on her initially, which may not be the right decision for us, but I think it's going to be the right decision for them. That's my prediction
Yeah,
anyway.
but if they wanted to do that, I do believe that they see something. But what you could have done is you could have had Lyra Valkyria win the crown jewel diamond ring or whatever it is back then. An upset against Liv and Nia in one night, two champions, because then that you could come back to it.
Yeah, very true, very true. And then she could have done a Jericho thing, right? She beat the both world champions in the same night. Right, she could
Literally.
have could have done that. I mean, so Lara, so next week, I believe it's next week on Raw,
Yeah.
which is absolutely star-studded. It's going to be Lara Valkyria versus Dakota Kai for the to crown the first ever women's IC champion. I wanted to point out that they did do a great video, the WWE of the cable era in this. It was only about 2 minutes long. But I respect where it's due because I don't think you would have got this under Vince McMahon. They showed a lot of AEW guys in there, and I know that they played a prevalent part in the cable era. But I feel as if Vince was in there, you wouldn't have got half the stuff with Danielson. You probably would have got the Jericho bit because that was massively significant in the cable era. But I don't think you would have got a lot of the Edge stuff or the Jericho stuff in or the the Brian Danielson stuff in there.
100%. And I saw that and I noticed it and I was like, because sometimes they would have defended away from it, but I think them doing that shows time that we are in wrestling. Things are
Hmm.
moving forward. This competition, yeah, it's like football. Liverpool and Manchester United always have digs at each other, but they're still playing. Still
Yeah.
two companies growing. Yes, one's bigger than the other, given because it's been around since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
But I think competition is good, and I think 2025 is good for wrestling in general. And
Yeah.
the fact that WWE's shown a lot of these AEW guys, yes, because they've got history in WWE, it just shows WWE's like, yeah, it doesn't bother me. They're somewhere else. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, and it should be a mutual respect thing as well. Like, I know that it's not, say it's not as, I think from an online thing, it's more heated than perhaps WCW. Perhaps it would have been online if online was a big thing back in back in the Attitude Era, and it wasn't. Certainly is now. And I'm kind of hoping, I mean, you've heard the likes of MJF and people like just say, like, I don't give a shit. Like, I'm earning money. We're earning money. Like, who cares? Like, that's the kind of thing. And yeah, I just feel like that was just a nice touch. I didn't expect to see a lot of the people on there. Like I said, even the little bits like the Danielson bit with with the whole yes movement did play a prevalent part. Don't get me wrong. I was just not expecting that to be on. It certainly would have been on there if Vince was in charge. So good thing, certainly good. And it was nice to see a little bit of Bray in there as well, just because a nice touch for that. But let's move on to the six man. So this happened before the second women's match, but we wanted to bring it in order. Damian Priest and the War Raiders against Judgment Day. Now, for those of you that were wondering, the War Raiders were wearing black armbands with the word Jax on it. For those of you that don't know, Jax Dane, NWA wrestler, passed away last week on Christmas Day, actually, of complications from a heart attack that he had. I think back in the end of November, early part of December. So they knew Jax, so they worked with Jax before. So that was why they wore the armbands. And yes, that was a very nice touch for them as well. Man, I tell you what, this match, Damian Priest Oh, first off, Judgment Day's new music. I'm not sure. Like, I have to. I'll ask your opinion on that in a minute. I'm kind of when I heard it first, I was like, "What is this shit?" Then I was like, "Okay, it's not too bad." I don't know. I'm still on the fence with the Judgment Day's new theme. This match for me was not very long, but I did love that when he countered the 619 into the South of Heaven choke slam. I got me off my chair. I was like, "Fuck me!" That was brilliant from Priest.
Definitely. Judgment Day's new music. See, in WWE, when people change their just music just randomly, I don't get it. Why change it on the last Raw just before cable? If you're going to do something like that, do it on Netflix.
Yeah,
It adds more of a big thing. Oh, that's another thing that they've done. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
But that, I was like, I love it when spots like that happen because like
Yeah.
you just said, it got you off your feet and it gets you off your feet.
Yeah, it was brilliant. I loved it. I loved that ending. I really did. I thought it was great. We'll get to Ludwig Kaiser in a minute. Now, the interesting thing that happened, there's two interesting things. One, we saw another video of a debut that's happening next week, and it gave away who it was. Talk about that in a minute. Then we got to a backstage bit with New Day and Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio was hyping up Otis, just saying, "Look, you'll get your hands on Chad again, and you'll beat him." Turns around, New Day's there. They were just basically mouthing off to Ray, and it's setting up a tag match. I think for next week. I don't know if it's actually next week, but it's next. They're typing up a tag match. But it seemed as though on this that they weren't hinting that Ray was going to use a member of a current member of the LWO, which leads me to speculate: is Penta, that's exactly who the vignette was for, and if you didn't know, that gave it away this week, is he going to join Rey Mysterio next week against the New Day?
It's a good question. See, if I was gonna debut Penta on a big platform like Netflix, on one of the biggest roles that will be forever, I would not do it in a tag team match. No offense, unless it's with Rey Phoenix.
True, very true.
I would have like Rey, like I would have had Adam Pearce go to Rey Mysterio tonight, go on match next week, mystery opponent,
Yeah, bang,
Penta.
Penta. Yeah, that would
But
work.
I don't see unless next week it's Biggie, or just unless
Yeah,
small chance, but that's the only thing that would get me happy. If next week in the tag match it's Ray, and it's very random,
yeah,
Ray and Biggie, and then
against.
Ray doesn't need to do much, probably a 619 and a splash, but Biggie just beat the shit out of him.
Wouldn't it be even weird? Wouldn't it be a really interesting bit if they did Ray Big E, right? And before the match gets underway, Big E attacks Ray, aligns back with the New Day. It's just a shame that Ray Phoenix isn't there and not signed for Penta and Ray, or this time for maybe the LWO to make the save. They get a beat down, and then Penta comes out.
Why are we not hired?
I don't know, mate.
Do you know what I mean? These ideas could happen, and I'm. We're mentioning Penta. I'm quite sad that he left AEW because,
Yeah,
I mean, I'm happy for him. Don't get me wrong,
yeah,
but it's always weird when people like a luchador comes to the WWE
yeah.
because they don't get shown very well in my eyes. I mean,
No.
look at I'm just going to name Dragon Lee,
Yeah, Dragon Lee. Yeah,
brilliant performer, and I know in WWE you can't do half the shit that you would do on the Indies or WWE or AEW, but come on, Dra- Penta has some moves that are banned.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah,
Having
yeah,
said that, though, having said that, they're bringing out a few of the band moves now, aren't they? And we've seen the package
yeah.
power driver being used. I mean, maybe it's a case of it depends who you're in the ring with, or as long as they're happy to take it, things like that. But you
I
are
hope
right.
so.
Yeah, and you are right though. They don't. luchadors in WWE have notoriously fouled. Dragon Lee being the most recent one. Rey Mysterio has been the only one that has probably done anything really.
Apart from Eddie Guerrero, because you'd kind of class him as a luchador.
You do, yeah. I mean, obviously, and I suppose. Eddie didn't have the look of a luchador in a way. He was a bit more of the bulk side, wasn't he? He
Mm,
had like the look of a heavyweight, but he was necessarily and he wrestled like a luchador in a
yeah,
lot in
definitely.
a sense. So, but yeah, that notoriously in the WWE they have not worked, and Rey Mysterio has probably been the only, well, maybe Dom to a degree has probably the only other one, but again, doesn't wrestle like a luchador, and he's tall. You know,
He has the potential though.
Oh, I had when me and Andy done our review, I had him down as like one of the MVPs of the year. I just think that he's one, and I said it on the podcast. I said it on the podcast last week that I feel like there are so many second and third generation wrestlers that are always stuck because of who their family was. They can't even get Cody Rhodes can't even get out of Dusty's shadow because every promo that goes against him, they always mention him. I feel like Dominic. I don't even call him Dominic Mysterio. I feel like he's one of the only ones if someone knew was watching it and they saw Dominic wrestle, they wouldn't even know he was Ray's son.
Agree.
He's been so good. So, but we'll see what happens with Penta. He's definitely debuting next week. Will it be in this match? We don't know. We'll have to wait and see. As you said, I'd like him to do something special for him. I also feel as if WWE kind of want to competition thing, stick it to AEW a bit here with Penta, and perhaps they're going to make him into this big star that perhaps they should do. I don't know. Ricky Starks is another one when he comes. I don't know. Eventually, I'm sure that's going to happen as well in a year or so's time. However, we look at it, and that's Cody's friend. So we'll see. Anyway, we'll see with Penta next week. Ludwig Kaiser come out. He did call out Braun Breaker. He didn't get Braun Breaker. He got Sheamus. They got into a bit of a melee. Ludwig Kaiser, I'm expecting big things from next year. I don't, Continental title, maybe. Yeah, I could see it happening. Sheamus, I don't know. Like, I just, again, we talked, I don't want to sort of load NXT up with names, but like, when you think of it, Sheamus has been on Raw since what, 20, I don't know, 13, 14, something like that. He's been on the main roster for over
I cannot,
10
yeah.
years or so now. Is it
No, he went.
time Sheamus
Yeah,
to go to NXT?
no.
No, you don't think so?
I'd throw him to SmackDown because he's got star power, but he's not Roman Reigns or Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
So I'd throw him to SmackDown to give that SmackDown some name, and then obviously he's a veteran, isn't he? So if you
Yes.
need a Ludwig Kaiser to get that next level, put him in against Sheamus. But I think before Sheamus does hang his boots up, he needs that IC title. And I'll
Yeah. Oh,
keep
he
saying
needs.
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mark
He,
my words, within this next 6 months, he will have that title.
even if it's just for like 2 weeks. Do you
Yeah.
know what I mean? He needs it. You are right. He needs that
My
title.
only my only thing with Ludwig Kaiser
Mm.
is the name.
Ludwig Kaiser.
I don't like it.
Fair. Fair. No.
It's i.e., I'll give you an example. You, right?
Yeah.
Your brand hitting the turnbuckle
Mm.
podcast. Me, one breezy. Do you know what I mean? Him, he was Fabian Archer.
He
What a
was.
name, right?
Yeah.
Who the hell is gonna? What would you rather have? Fabian Archer or Ludwig Kaiser?
Yeah. Fabian Archer works better for me. You are right. That is.
And it's like Gunther.
Yeah.
It's an okay name, but Walter is the name for him.
Yeah.
And it's like Pete Dunne, Butch. Why?
Yeah.
I hate it when people change people's names because it's like starting again.
Yeah.
And it's like, why?
Yeah, exactly. No, I do. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Change the name back to Fabio. They won't, but they should do. You're right. Look, let's get to the end of Raw. I mean, Jesus, the main part of Raw. CM Punk, Rollins face to face. Finally, we got some pipe bombs from Punk. I felt as if they was holding back for one thing, and he went in on Rollins, saying because Rollins was saying about he dropped the ball, and Punk was like, "Well, I dropped the ball." So you're saying that Stone Cold dropped the ball? You're saying I haven't seen the man around here recently. Has she dropped the ball? Rollins fired back, the man's at home raising the kids, something you wouldn't know nothing about, which was a fucking line and a half. Then he was talking about Punk still being the cancer, and the only way to defend it was to cut it out. Punk's going to bring all the arrows that but at the end of the day, he'll bring the eyes of fire. And Rollins was promised to burn Punk to the ground. I mean, this was one of the best promos of the year to end the year. This worked on so many levels, but I think also the history. I mean, Rollins mentioned that Punk went to the competition. How did that work out? We all know about that. That the history between them sells it also to the moon. But I also think that we've got no real idea who's winning this next week. And that is another intriguing bit. Like, there's arguments for both people to win this match next week. A lot of people will say Punk, and maybe rightly so. A lot of people can say Seth and put points together. For an end of Raw, and I always say you need to end the show wanting to go and watch Raw next week. I know it's a big Raw anyway. They've pulled out all the stops. I want to watch it purely from the end of that promo alone. I'm ready for Raw next week.
Definitely. And same here because we know Netflix is going to be huge next week.
Yeah.
But we also know that promo wasn't long either.
No.
10 to 12 minutes. And
Yeah.
we've seen promos go on for like 20, 25 minutes,
Yeah.
i.e. The Rock. No offense. But they threw in a shade of Vince McMahon there
Yeah.
when Punk said to Seth, "Oh, the guy's not here. No, I left because the guy who loved you was in charge or something like that.
Yeah.
He's
He
not
guy
here
was in
anymore.
charge. Yeah.
And
He
he
loved you.
worshipped you."
Yeah. That's it. He hated
That
me
got
and I
me.
hated him. Yeah. I hated
Yeah,
him, but he worshipped you or something like that, right?
yeah, definitely. And like I said, the promo went on 11 minutes max, and I want more. Personally, I think next week's Raw, I think me and you should do an episode just talking about that because there's so much there on predictions you could do, this, that. But my prediction for next week, they're going to have a banger of a match.
Yep.
It's not going to be a long match, but it's going to be enough to keep us wanting more. And then that's where they're going to do the massive build up to WrestleMania. They're going to have the final thing in WrestleMania. And I feel Seth is going to turn.
Interesting.
Because at the moment, they're both faces, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. Yeah.
So you need a heel. And I think they're going to have a good match, probably a 10-minute match or something. Bang, low blow.
Oh, a DQ finish.
I'm calling it.
I was thinking something like, I don't know, this is fair now. I was thinking a bit more like, because what I've seen at house shows over the Christmas period, that Punk seems to be getting into it with Judgment Day a little bit. And I thought perhaps someone like Judgment Day might come out and Seth and Punk would end up fighting together a little bit. And then they would break away. Punk will go and feud with Judgment Day. I don't know what will happen with Seth, and then it would come back around. Maybe Seth eliminates Punk from the Rumble or something along those lines, and then we get back on to Seth and Punk. One of them may even win the world title up and to get it to Mania. But I don't know. That's how I saw it. That's how in my head that I can see it happening. But
I
you could be right though.
see, I see where you're coming from with that, but I want to ask you this: why would Punk? I know they're doing the house shows, but they're just in my house shows are just random anyway.
Yeah,
But if you could sit down now and think, why does Punk need to do anything with the Judgment Day when Finn and JD just lost the title, so they're still in a little bit with the War Raiders or whatever they
yeah,
want to be called this week. Finn Balor is kind of in another feud with Damian Priest. Carlito's just Carlito spitting apples in the back, and you've got Dirty Dom who's with Raquel and Liv.
yeah.
So there's no real reason for him to get involved with them.
No, there isn't. I just
But
don't
it could
know.
happen.
Yeah, I just felt like it. I don't know. I don't know. As you said, maybe I'm bringing too much into the house show stuff, but sometimes they use the house shows to bring out, to start something. And I don't know. I could be wrong, but what a promo! What a way to end the cable TV era, which has probably been the longest era in wrestling, really, when you look at it. Obviously, there's been a Attitude Era, Ruthless Aggression, PG, and all that stuff, but realistically, the cable era. has happened, man. I mean, looking back, I mean, that cable era started. I was a kid in school when the cable era, when the Attitude Era, even before the Attitude Era started, and now I'm old, old and a dad and all of that stuff. And I look back on those years, and it's like incredible, incredible times to select a few bits and pieces. But what do you think in terms of what some of your best moments? Not your top three, but what are some of your best moments?
I wouldn't say this one's the best moment because everything went downhill from here for certain people, but it's a place, a part of history. The breakup between the Shield in 2014, that's a highlight of the moment for the cable era, if you ask me, because there's so many branches that you do from that. You had the Authority, which that played a key part. It was boring every week, but played a key part. You had Seth Rollins and the J&J Security. Do you know what I mean? You had
Yeah,
Seth running the title. You had with Randy, and obviously Dean Ambrose, John Moxley now at the time,
yeah,
feuding with Seth. Then Roman. I think that was like the key start for Roman to become what he is now.
yeah, yeah.
So that's
You're
one of my favorites.
one of mine. As I say, it's not on my list. Going back to the Attitude Era, I remember when like I used Stone Cold and Vince every week was just must watch. I would always tune in. Like, I don't care what happened. I just want to know Stone Cold and Vince, what's going on. Stone Cold filling the Chevrolet up with cement. Stone Cold with the beer truck, the Rock throwing Stone Cold off the bridge. There was so much stuff like that happening. But one of my top three, and again, these are in no particular order. I'm not saying this is the order. Obviously, we've had some great. Also, on the top of that, and on a sort of somber note, we've had some great. Remembrance shows, Eddie Guerrero, Owen Hart, people like that, Bray Wyatt. But going back to my top three, one of them, and it's still for me. I think when we done the top 10 debuts of wrestling, it was well up there with me. Was Chris Jericho on Raw? The countdown time, it went on for weeks. It was countdown to Millennium. We're in like the middle of '99. All of a sudden, The Rock's in the ring. And when The Rock's in the ring, I mean, the guy's coming out. If The Rock is in the ring, the guy's going to be a star. There's no doubt, like in my mind, when the fact The Rock was in the ring, I was like, whoever it is, it's going to be a star in the business. And I weren't wrong. Chris Jericho comes out. He does take a bit of a pasting on the mic by The Rock, as a lot of people do, but he didn't get affected by it. We spoke about it earlier on in the show. He was the first guy to win both championships at the same night. He was the undisputed champion. He done a lot. He left WCW under a bit of a cloud, and he come and done his own in WWE. For me, that one of that return, or that debut, sorry, and he's had a lot of returns since. And we mentioned that when we were off air about how he reinvented himself, come back, load of clues, and he comes back. But his initial debut was one to remember from me.
Definitely, and I agree with you on that one. I mean, I wasn't born at the time, but he has reinvented himself everywhere he's gone. He's been to ECW, WCW, WWF, WWE, New Japan Pro Wrestling, AEW. He's CMLL as well.
Yeah,
He's been everywhere, and even in AEW, and that's been going for 5 years now. They we could just look at the gimmicks he's had. Le Champion, fucking the Learning Tree, the Painmaker. He's had loads. Do you know what I mean? And the guy's 55, 56, and he's still moving like that.
yeah.
Could be wrong about his age, but
Oh, he's old. He's older than me. That's what and I'm old. So that's
yeah, he's
big.
unbelievable.
What's one of your memories of the cable era? Top three.
It's a return. I'll go
Yeah.
for a return like you. And mine's very unexpected in 2011. You know what I mean? At the time where we had that talking computer as a general manager, we
Yeah.
had the host of WrestleMania who's going to be this big hype. Everyone's wondering who it could be. It's a former WWE champion. And it was none other than Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Came back after a 7 year hiatus.
Yeah.
And then we know how that happened. Rock Bottom's John Cena at WrestleMania in the match with The Miz and then sets up the match once in a lifetime, but really it happened twice.
Yeah. Once in a lifetime, twice in a lifetime. And I like what they did. What they did well on that is that they they done a shot of a limousine a little bit not long before the announcement, and the door opened. All you saw was high heels and like someone in a skirt, and you were like, "Oh, it's gonna be like," because they was talking like Britney Spears being the host and things like that at the time, and you could hear that the crowd sort of go, "Oh." And then obviously it was just a smokescreen, and The Rock comes out and does it. And it was just Justin Roberts on the mic, the host of WrestleMania 27, and it goes all dark, and then there's that big, and then the music hit, and the crowd absolutely exploded on Raw. I remember watching it live because I was going to that WrestleMania. It was my third WrestleMania. No, my second. Third, no, my third WrestleMania that I went to. No, fourth, sorry, fourth. And yeah, I remember watching it live because I wanted to find out who it was, and it was just unreal moment in my. And that was when I was watching it upstairs, like 4 o'clock in the morning. I just was like, yeah. When the Rock's music hit, it was an incredible moment and one that I will always remember. And from Raw anyway, not only from WWE but from Raw. I mean, going back, I mean, there's been so many, as you say, it's hard to like pick a load because you're always going to get people go, well, what about this one? What about that one? So I'm going to throw it out there to the viewers and the listeners and everyone else. I'm going to put it on X. What was your favorite moments of Raw in the cable era? Do you know, I had one of my ones, and this is purely because I was actually at this Raw when it happened. It was the Raw after WrestleMania 28, and it was Brock Lesnar's return to Raw. And it's purely because I was in that building. I was there in Miami that night. I was sitting there. We were expecting, there was lots of talk that Brock was there, Brock was back. And it got to the end of the Raw, and Cena called out The Rock, who had come out at the start, and he was like, he was leaving again to do another load of films. And Cena come out, and he was like, Rock, I want you to come out here one more time, so we can, basically just be gentlemen and hug it all out. And when that music of Brock hit, I still to this day haven't heard a reaction. Maybe when Punk come back, it was close in
Or
Chicago,
Edge.
or Edge at the Royal Rumble. Yeah, that's a good shout, actually. Um, I have never, I mean, live, being in there in person, I have
Okay.
never heard a reaction. And I've been to Manias, 50, 60,000 people. Nothing beats the reaction I that for me when Brock come back, being live in person. I was going ape shit everyone was going crazy. The building was literally shaking. So it may not be on top of everybody's lists, but because I was there and I think it made it more special for me, it has to be on my top three.
Definitely. I like that.
What's another one of your memories, my man?
Just so many, man.
I know there is loads.
God, how do you even start?
Only got about like 50 years of stuff.
Yeah, I know. But it's each to it's different people's cup of tea though.
Hmm.
It's like I could mention the Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels making up in
I was
2010.
That was literally going to be one of my literally the next one was that going to be that one, or it was going to be like you look at that. You mentioned the break up the Shield, the return of DX, the actual initial DX started
Yeah,
on Raw, but the big return in like I think it was '05 or something when Shawn and Triple H got back together. The
yeah.
time when Triple H turned on Shawn when they were going to bring it back in '02 or something like when Bischoff was GM and things like that. And there's just so many memories like that.
It's not one of my favorites. Well, it is, but it's a favorite anyway. It's a pop that I heard was quite loud. It was in 2006 when RED says he was going to cash in his money in the bank at
Yeah,
one night stand.
that one night stand. Yeah,
The crowd got fucking bananas for that.
yeah, they did.
So that was a good one. It's not like a wow moment. It is, but it's not. Do you
Yeah,
know what I mean? But we've just
yeah,
been on about crowds.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, no, that was a big one. There's just so many. Like I keep changing my mind. I've mentioned it though. I did mention the beer truck, and I have to go with that as one of my top three.
What?
What?
One more.
Go on.
The American Badass Undertaker.
Oh, he done that Judgment Day, didn't he? Then he come out on Raw the next night.
No, I mean like so he did 10 years as a dead man, went away for 6 months, came back. The American Badass came out.
Mhm.
That reaction, the crowd.
Oh, the reaction from the crowd. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's another one. There's so many
Because he came
like
back as a new character, didn't he?
yeah, there's so many as like I mean there's so many like that as well. Like it's just weird like so like returns and debuts and like stuff like that that makes yeah it's just made Raw on cable so much brilliant to watch and I've loved the cable era on Raw. But we're now moving to Netflix, and we know we're going to get Penta. What I mean, John Cena. In my view, John Cena kicks off Raw next week. Go.
He shaved his head as well. It looks like.
Has he's got a buzz cut back, hasn't he? Cena's got his buzz
Mm.
cut back for Raw next week as well. Good because there's no point in him having the hair that he had when he's receding as bad as he was. I mean, it's like me. Like, don't, John, mate. Seriously, it's good. No, good. John Cena's retirement tour. We've got Last Woman Standing next week. We've got Punk and Rollins next week. God knows what else is going to go down on Raw next weekend. Tribal combat for the Ula Fala or the Oompa Loompa, as LA Knight was going to say. Man, what a Raw next week, Jordan, it's going to be. But as we sign off for 2024, a big thank you to you for stepping in, for doing some Raws with me. Keep the stuff going. The RV, I can't wait to have see your interview with Rob Van Dam himself when that drops.
Yeah.
Tell everyone, when is that dropping, by the way, and what else you got coming up?
Oh, the RVD was a big one to end 2024. I did it last night. I'm hoping to get it out today, which will be the 30th of December, not 31st of December. If not,
31st.
nice little treat for New Year's Day. So today or tomorrow. And then I've got coming up, I've got a few interviews that I've recorded with Red Pro ring announcer Francesca
Oh,
Olivia.
she's lovely.
I've, yeah, she's down to earth. She's so funny.
Yeah,
I've got a few in the bank, but I haven't confirmed yet. I'm just
yeah.
waiting out. I'll
Announce
tell you
those.
after this.
Yeah.
And then January is a bit plain for me. There's not much going on because I'm just getting excited for my holiday. I'm off to Australia in February.
Wicked.
So February is going to be a bit busy. Back to my traveling videos for a month.
Brilliant. Yeah, I was going to say, because you do traveling videos as well as wrestling videos, right?
Yeah, when I get so you got to earn the money, though, ain't you, to do all these things. So it's
Yeah.
but yeah, as soon as and then when I come back, I'm going to start hitting big guests again.
You're going to start hitting the turnbuckle, right?
Yeah, I'll come back on anytime.
Oh, mate, listen, you're always welcome. There's no doubt about that. For us, I mean, I need to thank Austin Aries for yesterday for that. We'll be out in a couple of weeks. Great. I mean, look, he talked about food, a lot about food. Goes into detail. I didn't ask him to, by the way, but he goes into detail about the finish of the TNA World Championship match with John Morrison, which was quite an interesting view. He's a changed man in a lot of ways, and he is coming over here in March to PCW up in Blackpool way. So it'd be good to see if I get a chance. Riot Cabaret guys, Sean and James from Riot was literally a riot yesterday. That's coming out next week. Look forward to that one. Obviously, Francine's already out. Black G's from the NWA is coming up well, we're recording this Thursday for that. Me and Fiona be back in doing that with and our NWA weekly NWA show be back on. As you've had guest that you've had before, Natalie Sykes is we're going to be recording with her Friday. I'm going to be recording with CW Anderson on Friday, and I'm also going to be recording with Ruthless Rob Drake on Friday. So those will
Jesus.
drop. Those I know, man. Those will drop at some point. And then in the first proper week of January, we're looking at another independent showcase with a good friend of ours called Tig. He's one to watch in 2025. We've got North Wrestling on as well as part of Independent Showcase. And then the only other one I can announce at this time is obviously Hollywood Haley J, which will be part of the NWA series that we're doing with myself and Fee. There's lots of other bits, as you mentioned, Jordan, there's stuff that it wouldn't be right to announce other than our show with Ignite is back. We're doing Buckle Up 3. Date TBC. I will be announcing that at a night show in February. And we will let you know when that date is. Let's just say some big things are planned for that show. maybe the last ever time we do it. So we will see. But it's going to be a ton of fun. I can't wait to announce the date, at least on February the 9th at Ignite. I will get on the mic and announce the date. So if you're coming to Ignite, you'll have some fun. But Jordan, man, 2024 has been great. I look forward to working with you in 2025 and seeing your podcast grow even bigger next year, my man.
Thank you, man. And same goes to you. Do you know what? I've enjoyed working with you this year towards the back end of 2024. It's been good. 2025, we just keep building the relationship and, like working together. And obviously, you're going to smash it like you have done. And yeah, nothing but great things to say about you, Adam.
Indeed. Thank you so much, my friend. Guys, the last podcast of 2024 is in the book. We will see you on the other side in 2025 as Raw becomes Netflix. And until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and Happy New Year to you all.